All right. He's coming.
Oh.
You want that?
Yep, I'm on there now.
Okay.
All right, then we'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just pause a moment for your own intentions, please. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to start off the meeting. Is Jason Garner on? I would like to let Jason start off the meeting with his state of the county, if you don't mind. Sure that it would be easier for him to do that first, so we can all hear what's going on. So if you're ready, Jason, please.
Yeah, Linda, can you do one thing first? Is just tell us who's in attendance there?
I'll be glad to. I'll go around the room. Our Fire Marshal Brian Boxford is here, Trustee Garner, our attorney Bob McCurdick, myself, Anthony, Eileen, Trustee Burlingame, and I don't know the name of our gentleman from Burndary.
He's incognito.
He's
Christian Burnell with Burndary.
Christian Burnell from Burndary is here, and that's all that's in attendance in the boardroom.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Party.
Nobody wears a mask, and I'm in the high-risk category.
So am I.
Well, you should stay home probably.
Nah.
That's okay. That's okay. So let's turn the meeting over to Mr. Garner.
Hey, everybody, can you hear me?
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it works, this thing. But that's it's good to see everybody. Mayor, it's good to see you. Trustees, it's good to see you. Anthony, Chief, it's good to see you guys. I'm sorry if I missed anybody here. Thank you for just giving me some time to talk about what's going on in the county. I've tried to do this every year since I became county executive. I think it's really important to keep up a line of communication with all of our towns and villages between the towns and villages in the county. So right when I give a State of the County address, we go out to every town and village and talk about it, take some questions if we have time. Same thing with a budget address that we'll do later in the year. I don't think I actually got to do this last year because of COVID, but I'm glad to be doing it again this year, and I can't wait to do it in person. Hopefully we'll be able to do those types of things again pretty soon. But talking about the state of the county is really it's really about COVID. You know, COVID has it's been about a year since we declared a state of emergency in Broome County, and the county has been the lead agency in responding to the COVID pandemic. And I just, you know, we probably had over 200 employees work on this pandemic response, whether it was employees, a lot of employees from, of course, the health department, Office of Emergency Services, but just, you know, employees from tons of different departments, security, Office for Aging, Sheriff's Office, Parks, Recreation. You know, we had a ton of employees step up, work long hours this year, and, you know, to really not see their families much there. And so, you know, a large part of my State of the County address was just thanking them and talking about their role in the pandemic. We responded a number of different ways, whether it was procuring that protective, personal protective equipment that was needed and in very short supply early on in the pandemic. I remember we did a donation drop-off site for people to drop off PPE, and we collected over 1 million pieces of PPE and distributed it to hospitals and nursing homes. Our contact tracing operation, we had 3 people starting off before the pandemic started 3 full-time contact tracers, and at our height, we had 75 people working those phones and calling people who were in quarantine and doing the investigation work. And that's like those are the real people that work to prevent the spread, because without those calls, and I mean, it really would have been hard to really prevent, just a huge spread of this virus. Our health department and our Office of Emergency Services has been working with our schools and businesses to reopen everything in the community. We set up a mobile test site that has been in Endicott several times. That's done, I think, over 13 or 14,000 rapid tests in the community. We've wound that down because our positivity rate is down, and there's less of a need for the testing, and we're shifting those resources over to our vaccination site. Is quite good. The state average is 3.2%. We're at 1.8%. We're definitely going down, so we're really excited about that. It's giving our contact tracers quite a break, and in fact, it's going to allow. We have a lot of people we just shifted from other departments, so I've got like parks employees that really need right now, but they're contact tracing. So the more people, the more that rate goes down, the better we'll be able to reshift, people into, their regular jobs. But speaking of vaccinations, there's 2 large vaccination sites in Broome County. One is the state site, and then one is the county-run site. We set up our own mass vaccination site in Broome County, and we've done some pop-up sites. We did one in Endicott not too long ago, but that's pretty much where besides some pharmacies, that's pretty much where you're going to get your vaccine from now on for people who haven't gotten it. Broome County's doing really well. I just looked at the stats for vaccination. We have about 190,000 people in Broome County. We've given out 50,000 people have their first doses, and 30,000 people are fully vaccinated. So that's about 26% of Broome County residents have gotten at least their first dose. So that's really the way that we open up here, on getting that positivity rate down, but also getting the majority of our community vaccinated. The site at Broome Community College that we're running is, when we get the vaccine, we're putting it into arms as soon as we get it. So what we're seeing is more, each week, more and more vaccine comes to the county, because the federal government's, getting more out to the states, and we're going to expect that we're going to see a huge increase in that vaccine. So we're ready to staff that site up. We're ready to do 2,500 shots a day, 7 days a week at that site. It will take obviously more resources into that site than we have right now, but we have the capability to do it, and we will do it once we get those increased vaccines. So a lot of people say, when are things going to get back to normal? I don't know if I don't, what is normal? I mean, every year normal is a little different, right? I think what people are looking forward to is being able to do events. I mean, Endicott's known for those great ethnic festivals, and a lot of the churches around have great festivals, and you guys put on some great events, and I think we're going to be able to have those events. I do. I think starting in the summer and late fall, I think we're going to be able to get events back again. As I said before, a lot of our businesses have been reopened. It was really great to see the movie theaters get to reopen again. I see the Cinema Saver over there open, and that was really nice to see. But schools we're working with school districts to get all of our kids safely back to school, and instead of doing a couple days a week like some schools have, or slowly but surely just about all the schools are moving back to 4 or 5 days a week, and that's good. We're trying to open up more activities for the kids. I think there's some good signs out there that as we continue to vaccinate the community and keep our positivity rate down, we really are going to see things get pretty back close to normal, certainly by the summer, midsummer, late summer. Looking back at the economy, wow, that was, what a tough year. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. The unemployment rate in April of last year was at like 16% in Broome County, which was worse than the Great Depression. And we were able to bring that down to about 6%. as we reopen things. I like to see it get lower, but you know, we're working to really bring that rate down. Sales tax, which I know all you are very concerned about because we share the county shares sales tax with the municipalities. I know Anthony is always looking at that number. Sales tax actually came back big time in 20. We were down sales tax wise probably about 12 or 13% at our worst point in 2020. And by the end of the year, because we had reopened our economy, we only ended up having it down 3% for the whole year compared to 2019, which is pretty amazing considering, you know, there were so many things shut down, especially in those early months. And I don't think we really started reopening things until June. So, you know, it's a good thing, I think, that the southern tier in Broome County was like the first region to open up. So we were able to safely reopen and get our economy moving back in the right direction. Housing prices have gone up like 30%. The median sale of a house went up 30% in 2020, which I thought was phenomenal. Budget wise, you know, we've had a tough budget. Broome County has. At one point, we were down probably about $30 million in revenue, whether it was sales tax, casino revenue, other revenues. But New York State withheld probably close to, I would say, $15-20 million from us. They just, you know, it was a lot of money. And the good news of that is that they're actually they're withholding a lot less. They paid us back a majority of the money that they withheld from us. So we're getting, you know, the money, you know, from the state coming in as usual. Certainly the American Rescue Plan is going to be very helpful to the county, but also to the municipalities. The county is getting probably a little over $7 million, and that will go in a lot to revenue replacement. Believe it or not, we're not going to have a lot of money after we restore the, you know, the fund balance and pay off the short-term debt that we had to take off, you know, out and all that kind of stuff. You know, we're not going to have a lot of money to use. We're also going to use as much of it as we can in our vaccination effort, which is our #1 mission for the rest of the year. But you know, we were able to pass a pretty fiscally responsible budget for 2021 that included a third year in a row of reducing the property tax rate in the county. We drove our fund balance up to $14 million. Unfortunately, that's been about cut in half because of COVID. But I think the big thing that I was happy about with our budget was that, you know, sometimes when the county is, you know, in years past, when the county is not doing well, they sometimes take sales tax money and divert it from municipalities. And we did not take a cent from municipalities because we, you know, realized that we're in this together. And, you know, we didn't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. So, you know, we were able to weather this crisis, you know, this $30 million hiring freeze. We probably at one point we had 300 open positions that were not filled in the county, and we were, you know, we increased our contact tracers, and we got, you know, never, you know, had to shift. We just shifted a lot of employees around. Our employees are well trained in a lot of different things now after COVID. I guess that's the one good thing that's coming out of that. My parks people can run a park, but they can also do contact tracing, and they know how to do vaccinations now as well. So they've got a lot of you know, skills that they learned over the past year. But I think everybody's going to be happy to get back to normal. Just a couple projects across the county that I'm excited about. Even during COVID, we saw some big announcements come out. There's a FedEx distribution center that was announced that's coming to Kirkwood. That, you know, that's jobs. Johnson City, probably the biggest eyesore in Broome County, that big white Victory building is going to be redeveloped into mixed use housing. I'm seeing the old EJ building over in West Endicott. You know, that building that you know, we were able to demolish that. That thing, you know, coming along pretty well. I think it's going to open this year, so that's good news. County's making some improvements at Round Top and Griffin Park. In fact, my parks director was, we've taken 5 employees from her to do the contact tracing, and she was bugging me today about when can she get some of those people back. And one of the reasons why was to do some pruning and cleaning up at Griffin Park as we open up our parks here and Round Top as well. We are doing some improvements at Griffin Park with the boat launches there, but also the softball, baseball field. We're making some improvements there, so got some good
Much
things.
needed, Jason.
What's that? Yeah,
Much
yeah,
needed.
absolutely.
Those are rock
Yeah.
hard. Oh,
Yeah, we're but yeah, so we've I remember going over to Round Top. I hadn't, when I first got elected county executive, I like 5 years ago, I think I had only seen that place once. And I remember going up, I think it was like 2016. I'm like, someone told me there was a great view from here, but I really can't see it. And we were able to open up the view, and then Donald Lepardo is able to come in and make some improvements to that site. It's a really beautiful place now up there, and we see some uses, some future development uses at Griffin Park. Part of the problem that we have there is that it's on a floodplain, so isn't it in 2006 and 11. So we got to be careful about what we build there, but we are trying to make some improvements that fit that area, like the boat launches and improving the softball field and things like that. So I'm optimistic about the county. We were able to get through probably the most difficult year, well, certainly the most difficult year that I can remember, and probably pretty much anybody else in the community can remember. But I think we're going to come out stronger for it. Some lessons learned, and with a lot new partnerships. I've never had this much degree of contact with, for example, like school superintendents and hospitals than we've ever had before. I mean, I talk to our hospital CEOs almost daily, talk to the superintendents. At one point, we were talking to them 3 or 4 times a week as we were opening up schools and getting them ready for the kids to come back. And I think those partnerships are going to continue, and I think they're going to be better. They're going to Broome County's going to be a better place for it. So that's what I got for you right now. I know you guys have a busy meeting, but thank you very much for giving me some time. And I have time to, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, I feel free to ask. If you do have some time to do that, I'd be willing to stick around for as long as you want and talk.
I have a question, Jason. I have a question. We're trying to get together an Endicott Porch Fest, and it was originally slated for May, June. But obviously that's not going to happen. So we're kind of optimistically pointing towards late August, mid-September. Do you think that?
I think so. What I would do is I would talk to Mike Ponicello. He's our emergency services director, and
Right.
we do have municipalities like Endicott, that have a lot of questions about events. Can we do it? Will there be will the restrictions start to lift? And he's got all that information. He's working with all of our municipalities to do these events. And I think that the guidelines have been opened up a little bit. The restrictions have been relaxed. I think they will continue to be relaxed as we get into the spring and in the next month or so. But I call Mike up. He will work with Rebecca Kaufman, our health director, and help you guys as you plan your event and making sure that you're in the guidelines.
Okay, and we're also going for the Apple Fest in September too.
Oh, I hope so.
Okay, I'll get a hold of Mike. Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Does anyone in the boardroom here have any questions for Jason? Yes, Pat?
Hey, Jason, Pat Warner.
We passed our budget in November. That's when the legislature will approve it. We were able to pass a small tax cut and not really do any layoffs or anything like that. Of course, we look mainly at sales tax. That's what makes or breaks our budget. And 3 months, we're up a little bit in sales tax from last year. And I think as we open up everything, I think people are dying to get out and people are dying to buy things. I think the stimulus is going to be helpful. I think this is going to be a banner year. As we go into the budget for this year, I think we're going to have a pretty good budget. I mean, I'm certainly going to take a look and see what happens with the revenue situation. But at least as of March 15th, in terms of things that drive our budget, our current one, and then drive our future budget, things are looking pretty good in terms of the budgeting purposes. There's no doubt that the stimulus is helping us. I think I think Endicott's getting like $2.8 million, and the municipality, the way I think it's happening is you get half in the next month or two, and then sometime next year you get your other tranche of that payment to your municipality. But certainly those things will be helpful in making up the lost revenue that you guys had, maybe making some investments wherever you see fit. But I think we're going to be pretty strong with our budget. I think our budget's going to hit all the numbers that we need to hit this year, and I think it's going to set us up in a good position for next year as well.
Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the board that would like to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak? Please raise your hand and Anthony will call on you so that if you would like to speak to Jason Garner, please.
Yeah, Jason, this is Ted Warner. I had two questions for you on the COVID.
Sure.
Did you say that the Broome County site was at the BU campus?
No, so there's two sites. There's the site that's at the old Gannett building in Johnson
Right.
City. That's the state-run site, and then the county-run site is in the ice center at the SUNY Broome campus.
Oh, okay. And then the second is you said New York State was 3.2. We're 1.8%. Is that 1.8% new cases or 1.8% existing cases?
That's a 7-day rolling average. So the way that we do our percentage is it's based on the number of tests that we conduct each day for those 7 days, and the number of positive results that come back. So, we test, we have a certain amount of tests. The weekend is a little light, but we get probably 2,000-3,000 tests a day. So probably, right now in Broome County over the last 7 days, about 1.8% of those tests have come back positive.
Okay, thanks.
No, is there anybody?
No.
Okay, no one on Zoom has got any questions right now, Jason. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you spending your time here with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving me the time. And if there's anything we can do to help you guys out, just call our office. We're here for you. And thank you very much for giving me a little time to talk about what's going on in the county. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Jace. See you later.
Bye-bye. All right. I had a police reform committee town hall meeting on Tuesday, March 2nd. We shared a lot of information on how this committee came up with the 6 pillars of 21st century policing. Everyone was incredibly supportive of the fantastic job our Endicott Police Department interacts with the village residents, and we're very pleased. And of course, we know there's a public hearing later on today. Housing Visions is now taking the applications. I know I've mentioned this last time, but I wanted to announce it again in case someone has missed it. This is at the former HPE school on 23 Jackson Avenue. 43 one-bedroom and 18 two-bedroom. The one-bedrooms are $540 to $750 a month, and the 2 bedrooms are $710 a month. Some of these apartments for handicap accessible, especially for hearing impaired. And Housing Visions has turned out to be very accessible. They're very good managers, and they haven't asked the village for any tax credits or pilots or anything. They're strictly on their own. Many people have contacted my office for applications, and I've been glad to be able to pass them all out. Plus, we have them at our customer service, and we will continue to have them. They have to do all their business with Housing Visions, so we are not in the rental business. We just pass out the application. But Housing Visions now is looking for properties to develop in Endicott for higher-end apartments for the young professionals to come here to work. leaders with the clean energy technology, and we're going to have some town hall meetings. They're being planned to educate the community on the facts regarding clean energy and the battery technology. I'm excited with the number of leaders involved with this. We need to show Endicott as a friendly place to do business. There are some engineers coming here to work with Imperium 3 who will be looking for a place to stay. Imperium plans on recruiting engineering students from the graduation class at Binghamton University. It would be great to keep these graduates in our area. Imperium 3 will be bringing subcontractors here to support their company, as well as a couple more companies that may consider coming to Huron. So this reputation repair is very important to get all these people interested in coming. So we're trying to talk to as many people as we can. I had a conversation with the people from the agency. Stacy Duncan is a chairwoman of the Chamber of Commerce as well, and she's been very, very helpful. They offered to help on several projects. One is to offer to clean up the former forging works for a potential business that wants to come here. The agency is going to work with the DEC on the cost, so this new company won't have to pay for the whole expense. And we've had some interest in the former Kmart site with two potential parties. We're working on a plan to do a phase 2 with the DEC for the cleanup and use our Restore New York grant for demolition and turn the site into a brownfield. We also discussed solar arrays. For lower income property owners to offset their utility costs. There's a program for renewable energy as well as they're mentioning to us. This may go along with our wastewater solar farm project. Ty from Visions has offered to work on some village projects since he has purchased property on Washington Avenue. He also said that he's willing to work with both M&T and NBT Bank on other projects. They can all work together for us. So this is very good to know. We have some ideas we are going to be bringing to the agency soon for Little Italy projects. We have a few properties up there that we've got some ideas for. We dedicated our new fire truck. This was paid almost entirely from a grant that the firemen themselves acquired. The firemen and many village departments have sought grants to help with village costs, and we're incredibly grateful to all of them. There is a 60-foot tower that was approved by the planning board in December of 2019. We'll start construction. It will be at 5 Cleveland Avenue behind the Price Chopper in the middle of town. The board had asked them to locate it on our property on the hill near the water towers, but they wanted it in town so they could sell more satellite space. The village board wasn't really in favor of this, so we need to work on some regulations for this kind of structure for the future. My mayor advisory committee has been moving ahead. I'm amazed at the many out-of-the-box ideas, like getting rid of the alleyways behind the stores or widening the alleys for the trucks so they can use them for unloading. Taking the parking off of Washington Avenue to make it look more like park-like, since we don't have enough foot traffic to and many great ideas for using the former Bert's Home Furnishing stores. To Delta, along with the other committee that is also for Washington Avenue, and they will be bringing them to the public. The public will have input on all this. None of these are done deals. These are just suggestions, just so people know. I'm resuming my Where's the Mayor on Friday or Mondays, whichever day I happen to go out. When we get our ideas organized, we'll bring them to. Oh, that's for the other. I'm sorry. I have gone to I'm sorry, I lost my place, guys. I went to talk to the people with the head trauma today up on Main Street in Endicott. They do so much for their people. It's unbelievable. They really take good care of them, and I'm very happy. It's called Compassionate Care, and they do wonderful things for their people. And they have been there for 13 years, and we didn't even know it. So I would like to pass that on so that people are aware that this happens, that this is in our village, and it's nice to know that we have such compassionate people there.
And services.
And these services. We had preliminary department budget meetings. We're trying to cut down on costs as best we can, but Pat will fill this in on more of that because he was in there and he knows more about budgets than I do. My secretary is continuing to work on grants. We just received a couple new ones we can apply for. This alone is a full-time job for her. I went to Nick's refuge meeting. We came up with some solutions to this frustrating area, and Nick will be able to report on that. We got another invoice from Nikon referring to our money from Albany. This may come down in the form of the CDBG allocations, but as I keep saying, I want to wait and not get too excited until I actually see the money. Bernary has expressed interest in the former Friendly's building. This is exciting news. We would love to have another ice cream place here, so there's a gentleman here to talk to us on that shortly. I will be meeting our new police recruits this week, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. So that's all I'm going to report on for today. That's enough.
Holy cow, take it
I'm a
back.
busy person. All right, so now we'll come to committee reports. Do you have anything you'd like to report on, Eileen?
Unfortunately, my life as I knew it changed in the last week or two. Not bad, it's all good, but I'm back working in the branch, so I'm not working from home for the time being, and that's really thrown a little hitch in my giddy up a little bit, so to speak. But like I spoke with Jason, we're still undercover working on Apple Fest. That applications are starting to go out, and that Porch Fest in West Endicott is going to be really cool. We have 70 bands lined up. It's going to be fun. So unfortunately, I really don't have a lot of village stuff. It's petitioning time, so busy with that.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Nick, what would you like to report on?
Good evening. I have been spending a lot of time researching garbage and garbage-related solutions. We had a refuse advisory commission meeting last Thursday, and I think we are starting to make some good progress, finally. More news to come on that in the future. We have a diverse community, and I feel the best way I can serve is to learn. That being said, I have been taking a diversity and inclusion class from Binghamton University every Wednesday night. So far, it has been a great experience. At our next board meeting, we will be adding 2 people to our Parks Advisory Commission, another resident, and Arts Department. We'll get with Brett on that.
Thank you.
We are planning on having our first meeting next month. No date has been set yet, but I'll let everyone know. I have been talking with a few people about starting a welcoming committee for new residents, possibly creating a flyer or a handout with useful community information. So far, it is only in the idea stage, but we are working on it and remaining optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you. A long time ago in Presses and Bulletin, they had a lot of things like that. I have a whole drawer full. I'll bring it into you if you would like it.
Perfect. Thank you.
All that kind of stuff. I think that's a fantastic
great.
idea.
Thank
Thank you. Pat, what would you like to report on tonight?
Okay, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, a lot of my time this week was meeting with Anthony Bates and department heads on the budget. We met with fire, wastewater, water, police department, the light department, to get their wish list. I'd say the majority of the line items pretty nice. There are some other items that will need some tweaking, but confident we can come up with a fair budget with a minimal tax increase, if any. So that was all week long, 3 days of the week. And lastly, I received a call from the Press and Sun Bulletin. They wanted to interview me about the 10-point plan that was brought out by a few of the trustees here. And unfortunately, he questioned the perception out there of the business. And after about a half an hour discussion, I made it perfectly clear that that's an outright lie, and I gave him a whole series of things that we're working on to dispel that negative connotation that we are anti-business in Endicott. So, not sure when the article's coming out. I think it's this week, so it'll be interesting to see how it was transcribed and written. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Ted, do you have anything you'd like to report on?
Yes, I would follow up on that, Pat, was that in case there's some people on here tonight that weren't on last week, but the 10-point plan that we put out was not a Village of Endicott 10-point plan, and it was not a Board of Trustees 10-point plan. It was a Warner, Dorner, Burlingame 10-point plan. What it was is to name 10 places, 10 areas that we are pro-business, pro-Endicott, pro-progress, versus what we've had to go through for the past year with the incinerator. The second thing I wanted to bring up was that I've been working on two or three people on finding some wording for some kind of a motion on because of these trees that were torn down on South Street. I think it was 35 trees total. And I think we need to come up with some kind of a plan or some kind of a motion resolution so that things like that can't happen again in Endicott, where one or two people get to decide that big of and have that big of an effect on one street in town. The other thing, Linda, I had a question for you is, I jotted down that you mentioned a couple more companies coming to the Huron campus, cleaning up of the Endicott Forging Works property. There's some interest in the Kmart property. There's a couple of little Italy projects that are going to go to the agency for, I guess that means for a pilot. And is it possible for you to inform the village board of trustees about these projects, about these issues? I have not received one document, one sentence, or one word on any of those things that you just mentioned. So are these just things you're working on by yourself, or are you able to inform the board about these things that are happening? Because we don't know anything about it. When we get questions, there's no way we can answer the questions.
This stuff all just came by this week. I mean, it's unbelievable what happens in 1 week. The Little Italy is something that Anthony and Joe Moody are working on.
Well, no, I don't mean tonight, but I mean in the 2 weeks between the meetings, we should be able to get information from you about these projects because we don't know one damn thing about any of them. I'm sitting here jotting these down as fast as I can go because I've never heard of them before.
That's why I try to tell everybody stuff at the meeting because I am so busy all week. As you can see, this is just 1 week's worth of work, Ted. And I just get these phone calls. It's unbelievable. But as soon as I have the information in writing and I have names that I'm allowed to give out, I will give them to you. The people don't want too many names passed around because they don't want competition in
Well, I don't think providing the trustees with information about these places and names of companies that may be looking. I don't look at that as giving out those names. That's not going out to the public. That's stuff that the village board and the trustees should know about, so we can discuss it and throw out ideas on each of these things. Every week we sit down and just are kind of shocked of these issues that pop up because we know nothing about them.
Well, call me during the week and I'll tell you anything you'd like to know, because I'll tell you it's been crazy. I'm not complaining, please. I'm not complaining that it's been crazy, but it has been. And
so should we call you twice a day or 3 times a day to get these information? And how would we know what to ask about?
Well, if you just call me at least once or twice a week and say, "Hey, Linda, what's going on?" I would be with you. I really would.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what she does. She comes in, and I know under the circumstances you can't come in. And believe me, I understand about the COVID. But calling me would be just fine. I would definitely appreciate that, as a matter of fact. That would be nice.
What about sitting down and putting together a 1 or 2 or 3 page packet from whatever you get, emails or whatever, from these different issues or people you talk to? What about writing up a 4 or 5 sentence paragraph and emailing out to all of us at once? Wouldn't that save you many, many hours than to talk to us one at a time?
Well, as you've noticed, I put my mayor's announcements in the minutes just for that reason, so that you can see what I've been doing, because I understand I read too fast. And I read too fast because I don't want to take up all your time. I don't want the whole meeting around my announcements. That's not fair. So these announcements tonight will go in the minutes, and we will see them in the minutes, I guess, 2 weeks from now. I guess that's what it will be. I believe so. Yes.
So then you want us to get the information 2 to 3 weeks after the fact. So anyway, I'll move on here. I want to, I think I made my point. I do want to make a motion that, and I'll read the wording on it. I'd like to make a motion that any meetings of any Endicott legislative committees and any Endicott board advisory committee and or to the public on Zoom upon the verbal, written, or email request by any one person to the village manager at least 5 hours prior to the meetings. And by a majority vote of that each legislative committee or each board advisory committee or by the village board, the public may be allowed to speak for 3 minutes each during any of those meetings if those boards so vote. Because there's been some questions on whether there should be these meetings should be open to the public or not, and so that would be my motion.
Trustee Warner, could you read that again for me, please?
Yeah, you may see something you want to change some wording in there. Any meetings of any Endicott legislative committee, and we all know what those are, and any Endicott board advisory committees shall be available to the committee members and or to the public on Zoom, verbal or written email, any one person to the village manager at least 5 hours before that particular meeting. And by majority vote of the legislative committee or the board advisory committee or the village board, the public may be allowed to speak at any of those meetings for 3 minutes each during the meeting.
I have no objection because I don't even know what it means. I have no objection.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Nick.
Do a roll
More
call.
work on you, Anthony.
Yes.
Trustee Connectney?
Sure.
Trustee Burlingame?
Sure.
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
I see.
I'm all for transparency, so I think that's good.
How many, so.
Oh, and that's all I have.
All right. Bob, do you have anything you'd like to report on tonight?
I do have a few things. Just wanted to report that we're more our code enforcement at the village court level. I know Brian has been working with Mike Brennick from my office on that, and we just had a case in which a $5,000 fine was issued by the judge for a code violation. So we thought that was a good outcome, and I'm hoping we can have more of those kinds of reports coming in as we begin to get more aggressive with the courts reopening. I'm negotiating the the franchise agreement. I've made some changes to the agreement, and we'll be going back and forth, and we'll reach a resolution. I'm sure this is the franchise agreement that allows Charter to put their cables in the rights of way. One thing is that, and I'll say this publicly because it's kind of frustrating. Charter used to, actually, it started with the previous company, Time Warner, used to provide free cable and internet service to municipalities under these agreements. Charter no longer does that. So anytime I negotiate one of these, I always push them to try and provide that free service to the municipality. I'll continue to do that here, and I'll let you know the outcome of that. That will probably be coming to the board at some point in April for a public hearing and a vote. The third thing is the lead agency notice for the Skyview project was sent out after the last meeting, and the 30-day period for any involved agencies to respond is ticking, and I've not received a response yet. I'll let you know if I do. And the last comment, I'm working on a social media policy at the request of the village board from last week. Run into a little bit of
difficulty in that there's a lot of different social media sites that the village has, more than you might think. And some are run by, like the police department has their site, the fire department has their site, and I think, as far as I can tell, they may want some different standards than what the village board might want. So for example, I think my understanding of the village board's policy, you didn't want to have an interactive process where people could make posts on the site and have the back and forth. And I have to talk to the chief about this, but I believe Chief Gary wants that kind of thing. And I think he gets a law enforcement value out of that. So I have to find a way to kind of meld these different policies together, which is what I'm working on. And hopefully I'll have something to you at the next meeting for at least to look at.
Great, thank you.
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
Okay. Just to kind of reiterate what Pat said, we've had multiple budget meetings. We started the process. We've got estimates from all the departments we met with. We're going to have to meet with Street this week. Supervisor was off the last couple of days, so we'll get that scheduled probably Wednesday. And continue the process. When we get to new business, we'll have to just have a discussion about getting the whole board together and start meeting with the department heads and the whole board. So we can talk about that later. And I mentioned this a few meetings ago, but our tax cap number for this year, so that's the 2% or inflation, whatever is lower. Inflation being lower this year, our tax cap for the village of Endicott is 1.31% this year. So. So very minimal. Just to touch on a couple things here, we had a New York State Main Street grant meeting with our committee and our consultants. So they're pursuing that. We have about 4 projects that are given the okay to start, and we're working with a couple others too. So hopeful to get some of that, see some improvement from that this year. So happy with how things are going with that, but there is some more funding available, so we're going to be reaching back out to some applicants who were initially interested, and then others that have a potential for a project in that target area there. At a Washington Avenue committee meeting, so that's with the our consultant. We were working on that process to begin the revitalization process for the I-District area. As Nick mentioned, at a Refuse Commission meeting, I think things are progressing very well with that. So I'd like to, thank Nick for having that meeting and organizing it. Hopefully we'll get the things cleaned up and organized and back on track here. So, like a webinar kind of thing with a cyber insurance individual. And it's like a company looking at our cyber insurance policies and making sure we're covered, talking to us about what vulnerabilities are out there now. So that was pretty interesting, and I think I'll be possibly presenting something as part of our budget next month, maybe updating our cyber policy. And kind of ties into that. I received an email, I think it was from Nikon. That one was about some issues that other communities have been having recently with cybersecurity, cyber vulnerability. So it's kind of just tied in at the right time there. But so I contacted our IT service provider, and they received the same email. And when they received the email, they scanned our system. They did a few upgrades to our system to kind of tie in with what they've seen in other areas. So I was glad to see that they were on top of it before we even contacted them. And it was like the next day. So as soon as they got it, they scanned it. When we checked with them the next day, they had already made the update. So I was definitely glad to see that. And one other thing too is the little we mentioned earlier. So Joe Moody and I had a walking tour with one of the property owners up there. It's a developer, property owner. He owns multiple properties. So just a walking tour, 2 properties he owned, and he talked about what ideas he had, but nothing set yet. But just it's kind of good to seek it out and see what's available out there. So hopefully we have some new development up in that north side area. And I think that's about it. CDBG projects is the last thing I had. Is we have the fencing project in the park. They're looking to start that late spring, early summer. That was approved last year. Got pushed back because of COVID there. So we're hopeful that starts pretty soon. They have to finish that prior to August 2nd, so I guess that would be the latest it would be done. The upper playground, the bid is out for that now. The county union's running that for us. And the bid opening is March 31st, and the completion date on the bid is for July 30th. And we're also looking at the Oak Hill Odell street reconstruction for this year's project. And I think that's all I have. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. We have so much going on in the village. We just can't keep up with it all. You know, Ted, to mention, to find your point, I have to run a tab at my desk of all the things that's going on. So I'll remember to tell you, why don't I give you guys a report every Friday? Send you a report of everything that went on. You know,
That's beautiful.
I would like that. I would like that because I would really prefer to let you know. And I have to run a running tab anyway because I have to report it at the meeting. So that would be great. And then I can also let our media know so that the area knows what's going on in town. It would be nice. I'd like to kind of brag about what we're doing because Endicott itself is doing a lot. So I think that's a good idea. And that's what we'll do.
I think that's a great idea. That will help us out a lot, and I think that's the way the village should actually operate, really.
Yeah, I think that's great. And your idea of a newsletter is a fantastic idea, and we'll talk about that later. You didn't mention it, but Nick did before. So we're going to say that too. So we're going to be doing a lot in the village. It's just taking time to get it all done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, now we're coming to the part of I'm sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Can I just ask Anthony a couple of quickies here? The 1.31% tax, who drives that, and what's the ramifications if we don't get it?
Well, that's driven by the state legislature. The governor's office passed a law, I don't know, probably 6 years ago now, right around 6 years ago, saying that the municipalities have to stay under this tax cap, which would be 2%, or CPI, whichever is lower. There used to be an incentive tied into it, but I don't believe there's anything right now. So if you do go over it, you just have to pay the whole law. It has to be adopted by the majority of the board, and then you can go to the tax cap.
But does that, if we go over, does that affect any state monies that come our way?
There's nothing tied to it right now.
Okay.
So as of today, there's nothing.
Okay.
Who knows what they could
Subject to change.
tie it to in the future. My concern on that would be, and this is just me, you know, it's not anything that's ever been discussed on the state level, is that we saw what happened with AIM funding last year, the 8 and 17 municipalities, where they tried to lower that. So if you didn't have a large reliance on it, if less than 2% of your budget relied on AIM funding, they tried to take it away or significantly reduce it. So I know AIM funding is one of the things they've toyed with in the past of adjusting. So, you know, just, it's kind of my thinking out there. If they ever tie something to it, it could be that or something like that, where there'd be a financial incentive if you don't comply with that. But nothing official as of yet.
Well, since their budget is probably so screwed up, do they, to save money, do they just put the hammer down on the little guys? Is that basically what it is?
Try to.
Yeah, they could.
Uh-huh.
Their budget is April 1st. So you hopefully by the end of the month, we'll know everything that's in or out of the budget, and we can adjust it. So it kind of lines up good with our process because we don't adopt till, you know, mid-late April. So we should know, as long as they pass it on time, what's in theirs, what's out of the state budget, so we can make any changes.
Yeah, just the cyber insurance. Are we actually, with all the cyber activity and hacking, is there a premium that we have to pay over and above that adds that as a peril that we would pay on if something did happen?
Yep. So there's two sides of it. We have our software IT people who are on kind of retainer here that we pay, we work with them on updates and to secure our system. But then with insurance carrier, you know, if something does happen, we have insurance to you know, to address that if there's an issue. We had, so we last year, up until cyber was covered as part of our overall liability policy. Last year, we carved it out and went with a separate carrier because we got, we received 6 times the coverage for a little, what was it? We were paying about little over $6,000 a year as part of our overall policy. When we carved it out, we jumped it up to about 11.5, but we got 6 times the coverage for that increase. It kind of paid off. We thought, you know, it'd be more beneficial to pay a little bit more, but they have a lot larger coverage with everything that's been happening, not just in the state, but around the country with that.
But what are they saying is our liability? What we would have to pay on a claim? What are they looking at? If private information's given out, or
yeah, it could be anything.
What would be our reason to?
So it can be if someone hacks into our system and holds us ransom.
Yeah,
you know,
hostage, right?
Yeah, that's happened all over the country. So it prevents that. You know, if there's a data breach and we have to, you know, provide credit monitoring to everyone who could have been on there, that's covered. You know, that's covered in it. So there's a few different areas that it does cover.
Okay.
But it's all based on that cyber, you know, liability.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
And just for AIM funding too, the aid and incentive municipality funding. So we annually get $312,000, and our budget, you know, is about $15 million. So it just shows you, you know, we don't have I guess you could say a large reliance on it, but if we were to not receive that, it would definitely affect, you know, some programs or services that we're do. So it is important that we receive it.
Okay.
Now that. Well, Mr. Brunel, would you please give us a rundown of what Burn Dairy is going to do?
If you don't mind, I'll move my thing so the public
That's fine.
can see you.
Well, first, thanks for having me. My name is Christian Bernal, Senior Executive Vice President with Burn Dairy. A little bit about Burn Dairy. You guys aren't familiar down here as much as up in Central New York, per se. It's a family-owned business, 3rd generation. I work specifically for the Burn family. I've worked for 2 generations now. I've been here 23 years. But we have a fresh dairy plant up in Syracuse that we actually sold here a while ago to Upstate. But we do have the ultra pasteurization plant in DeWitt that we've kept. Okay. We also have an ice cream center. We employ between the retail division and the wholesale division probably around 1,500 in Central New York. Okay. We own and operate. We do not franchise our convenience stores. That's a very I want to get across to this board is we're not a franchisee. So if we were to come to Endicott in this location, everyone has my cell phone number. We have our own director of facilities. Our corporate office is located in Elbridge, New York. Okay, so we have our own warehouse as well. We self-distribute all our own groceries, which is very, very unique. So you see McLean out there in Cornmark's world. Yeah. We have our own 45,000 square foot warehouse in Auburn. We buy our own groceries. We also stamp our own cigarettes. We buy directly from Philip Morris. We're a taxing agent from New York State. Very complex operation compared to most C-store operators. Okay, we own and operate 61 convenience stores in upstate New York. We used to have a little more, but we've kind of scaled down on the old traditional neighborhood grocery stores. All of our new facilities must have fuel. Okay, I've built over 50 of them in my 20-some years. So I've done quite a few of these, I call them fuel facilities, retail stores or fuel facilities. Our typical store is much larger than a convenience store. We really don't call ourselves a convenience store. We're a dairy retail store with 28 coolers for stores inside. We make our own products, as I said, from milk to ice cream to everything. We even have our own bakery. We make our own scratch donuts nightly in Syracuse and drive them all around from all the way to Horseheads to Elmira to Watertown. So they're Burn Dairy Sunburn employees as well, which is very, again, we're very unique. We do a lot of our stuff hands-on. So I'm in front of you tonight. I sent everyone an email, just kind of copied them. We found a site. We are not down this way per se. I'm doing a store in the city of Elmira here very soon. We break ground there. We're in Horseheads. I just opened a new one in Ithaca. I bought the former Denny's, if you have seen that one. I redid the building, not because I wanted to, but because I had to for zoning reasons. But it turned out very nice, you can see. So I did that one, I opened that one in December. We've done quite a few. Not that we want to branch out, but this site really stuck out, and the site is the former Friendly site. Okay, 301 East Main Street. Okay, it's right here. Just let you know, there's a vacant Pizza Hut next door as well. I'm sure you guys are much more familiar with it. Okay, on the village. This site is a touch over 1 acre. Okay, I'm just going to give you. This is a very, very preliminary plan. I met with Brian like a week ago. Had my surveyor down here, kind of fast track this thing for this board. I didn't want to come with nothing, so I kind of threw this together and had my engineer. We're designing anywhere between 3 to 10 stores at a given time. So I wanted to put this because I knew I was coming here, so I wanted to give you guys some sort of concept. Again, only a concept. Very, very conceptual. Okay? So you can see right here, this would be our store, which is a 4,232 square foot store. It looks very similar to this. Okay, and that's in your package, the second and third page. We've opened a similar store like this in Lafayette off of Route 81. We just opened one in Homer, New York. I opened that one in November as well. I work with a village down there. You can call the mayor down there and speak. I did actually a zone change there with 9 residences that touched the back of my facility. The mayor and the village board supported me. I kind of had a vision of it, and it's very difficult, as you know, for a zone change. But I did go through the zone change process, got that over in the store. The neighbors love it. The village loves it, so we've done real well there. So the store will be 4,232 square feet. I propose fuel dispensers right here. Okay, it's kind of a narrow site here. 2 curb cuts. This is a state road. Okay, so I would deal with New York State DOT. That's something I do daily. I have a really good reputation with them. Side road here. Loader is a village. I'm assuming it's a village road. It's not a county road. So I propose 2 curbs right there. Got about 189 foot of frontage along East Main, 250 foot deep. Okay, again, preliminarily, this shows about 18 parking spaces. If you're familiar with our stores, we do have soft serve ice cream with little picnic tables underneath a nice porch. If you look at the pictures here, in here, you'll see a little kind of a porch. A front porch would be right here, and there'll also be a side porch. We love, I can stress, we love to sponsor communities, baseball teams. I mean, we sponsor over 50 baseball teams across the state, where we get a free cone after a baseball game. We love to do school fundraisers where we donate pizzas. We do it to a bunch of football programs that we're involved in as well. If they want pizzas for the concession stand, you know, Village of Camden, I built one there 10 years ago. We support the whole soccer program. We are this fundraiser. We give them pizzas, give them to them, and they sell them to the public. So we're very, very, we're not, again, it's a family-owned business. We're not a franchisee out of California or some other thing, but there's actually firms that do exist that can assure you that. I talk to them daily. So you can see parking. I'd also propose pedestrian access right here. We're big on pedestrian access. We don't want people, you know, wandering around the site. Again, I can change this up a lot. I just want you to, you know, realize that that's the type of things we do. There'll be pedestrian access right here. We can do any sort of street trees, landscaping that you guys or the planning board, I would say, would want. You know, we even go, if I put a fence up, which I would propose a fence along these 2 property lines, you can see I just don't do a wooden stockade fence. This is a cedar custom privacy fence. I mean, I'm not going to put a cheap wood stockade fence up. Actually, Ithaca, I did this in Ithaca. I think this is Ithaca's fence. So everything we do is quality. You know, if we do come here, we plan on staying here for a long, long time. But this is a conceptual. You can go through here. You can see whatever. If you haven't been to our stores, you can see on the, you know, 3rd or 4th page here, you can see the groceries. We have fruit inside. Again, 28 to 30 cooler doors with milk products, ice cream. We promote our own products. You can see the inside from a coffee bar to deli sandwiches. We do have a few seats inside for customers to eat there. We usually have between 6 and 10 inside if they want to get a deli sandwich and stay. Lighting, I just want to let you know, again, it's very preliminary. This is a site that I built. I don't even know where this one is. City. I'm going to hire a professional and lighting engineer out of Ohio. This is the city of Oneida. I built in the residential neighborhood there as well. I'm gonna go to the extent of literally doing aerial photographs and giving it to the planning board and the zoning board. If I use 100% dark sky friendly compliant lighting, which is the most restrictive lighting in the industry, it's full cutoff shielding. The last thing I wanna do is have somebody call my cell phone in the middle of the night, because I do give all the neighbors my cell phone, and they can call me any given night. So again, we were gonna do, if we keep going forward, the planning board, ZBA, whatever, they will get a full lighting packet like this worked up on this specific site. Okay? So I'm in front of you guys. If I have any questions on that, again, I was really quick on it. Hopefully I get to the site plan review process and we get very in detail from the signs to the shrubs and everything. I do this, weekly all over across the state. In front of you guys tonight because Brian, when I met with him, he had brought up the tobacco retail license law that was adopted, I believe, in May of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
In reading through it, I read through your zoning first from front to back, and I really didn't see too much. There is, in your zoning, just to let you know, this will require, it's general commercial, okay? It's a special permit, but the special permit in your municipality is through the planning board, okay? A lot of times it's through the ZBA, but yours is through a planning board. I would also need an aquifer permit, just because it's in the zone 2. So that, again, that is through a planning board process, okay? In regards to tobacco license, well, I'm gonna step back into your zoning. So you also have a clause for a gas station, okay, in your code that says gas stations must be 150 feet from a hospital, library, church. There is the church over here where the church is located. It's 128 feet. Okay, I found throughout my 20-some years of doing this in municipalities, that is generally an older zoning law for congregation when there was older gasoline facilities and whatnot. Most municipalities have not updated their zoning to remove that, but it is 128 feet, so therefore I would need a variance, okay, from the zoning board, and I'd go through that process as well, okay? But this is a much bigger, I'm not gonna say issue, but a concern of mine. We will not open the Burn Dairy store without selling tobacco. Everything is, I think I put it in my email, it's just not economically feasible, just like it's not economically feasible to open a store without fuel or, open it without ice cream. We need all these things, as you guys have said, sales tax, we need every customer we can get, okay? We want the neighbor, the baseball team to come in and get the free cone. We also want them to grab a gallon of, or a half gallon of glass mint milk that we have out right now, with a loaf of bread, and a deli sandwich and fill up on the way out. And if, the husband wants to chew, you can grab a, can of chew. So this was very important to us. And in reading through it, I noticed, and I highlighted it and I sent it out to you. You guys each have it. I sent an email, but that's a little package I gave you just so you could actually read it. And again, this is your Chapter 230 Tobacco Retail License Law, 230-5 Local Requirements. I highlighted it. With the exception of the first year subsequent to the effective date of this chapter, no new tobacco retail license shall be issued to any establishment within 1,000 feet of the nearest point of the property line of a school. So these little maps, I attached at the back of these, you can see them as well if you flip to them. I did a couple different ways. The nearest point I measured from the back would be the northeast property corner line to the school jag right here. You can see on your thing is 286 feet. Okay, so you can see I am well within the 1,000 feet. Can't hide it. That's what the map is. Okay. Also, if you went down Loader and just went from property line to property line there, it's 306 feet. Okay. You can see, you guys know where the school is located. That's the corner here, and this is the other corner I measured from. But that is in your maps there. So in reading through this, it's not like your typical zoning. Zoning usually a ZBA is an appeals process, right? I can go to the ZBA like I'm gonna with other ones. I did not see in here because it was a license through the village clerk with some input from the fire department, the police chief, but that's kind of an afterthought. I didn't see an appeals process. And that was really my question is, and that's why I said I'd just come here and explain it in person. It's instead of getting complicated through 150 emails, is wanted to kind of, what is the process for call it a variance? That's what I generally call it, a variance, a waiver, of this requirement, 230-5B. And if it is something that who would entertain it, and would the village look at giving a variance? Before I move along and spend, $20,000 to $25,000 on plans, from my stormwater management system to my engineers to my time. I just wanted to come here as a work session and get it right open. Why I get to the end of it and I can't give their retail license.
Brian, wouldn't it be the planning board that would make that variance decision? I don't know, that's why I'm asking you.
There's no provision in the law.
I gotcha.
No, there's a couple problems here. One is the distance to the school. It doesn't meet that requirement. And the other is there's a limitation on the total number of licenses that are
2 to
issued.
1.
Yes.
I was going to bring that up.
Yes, exactly, right.
It's
So,
got the 2 to 1 highlighted.
yes, right. So you
Get
got
rid of
them both.
2, bring 1 in.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's a couple. I didn't know where you guys stood with that. And that was one of my other questions later. Is that you got to get rid of 2 existing
Yes.
or the previous years to grant 1.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
That's how the law is written, and there is no variance procedure built in. So it's the law that's on the books. So really, unless the law itself has changed, then those are the current requirements.
Okay. So there's no appeal process whatsoever.
Well, there's no appeal process or variance process,
Yeah.
so to speak. I mean, there's the legislative process.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Like creating a new law or so.
Exactly. Right. Or amending the law.
Exactly. I've done a lot of working with the city of Rochester, well, down up there. I was just in front of them last week, the town, and they're going to amend their zoning same way for the story around there.
Bob, this is this is Ted Warner. Maybe this is something the board would want to hold an executive session about and have a discussion on these issues. I think we're interested in more businesses coming to town, and maybe that would help us a little bit, at least to discuss it. Not tonight, but I mean.
Thank you. I'm into that, not tonight though.
Very question. I know this sounds strange, but I just got a message from the governor where he is going to allow marijuana. How would marijuana affect your area? I'm worried about that because we have no laws. I know that's kind of odd, guys, but
I don't know where we stand with that, and if the family-owned business would even attempt to sell it. I can't answer that until we looked at, that come across. I did see the governor, it's a big.
yeah. If we do start selling marijuana, my personal opinion is if we do sell it, I'd like it sold in areas where there's liquor stores already. Because that way it's not near the schools and stuff, that's all. I mean.
That's another law, as your attorney would tell you. You could craft a law to keep that.
Yeah.
Specifically out of it, just like you've crafted a law to keep, and I don't know what this was designed for.
We have a lot of bodegas.
That's what I was next. I thought it was bodegas and vape shops, which are everywhere.
Right.
I thought this was
right.
specific. Unfortunately, it takes a corporate business, family business like myself, who operates way above and beyond, right?
Right.
And it puts me into a situation where here I am tonight with a law that I can't get around.
Christian, how much of an investment would this facility cost from tearing down?
$1.5 to $2 million. $2 million
project.
I've employed 25 employees, 16 full-time equivalents, sales tax, fuel sales tax.
Sales tax is what we're really interested in.
Fuel sales tax is even better, I can assure you that. I built one in the city of Norwich, you can ask them about it. Years ago, I built a laundromat actually with it. And I dealt with the city manager there, and they were very happy. But the fuel sales tax is a big, very, very large portion to get. Yes, it is. And so is, inside the store. And, I don't have to tell you guys, I mean, I don't know the assessed value off the top of my head, but I'm probably good to say that the assessed value will not stay where it is if I go there to spend this kind of money. So you can put that right, I mean, I hope it does, but it's not going to. So what I'm going to pay the increase, right, in property taxes, let alone in 1 year versus, 30, 40 years that I'm going to be there is going to make significant as well. But there'll be a lot more sales tax.
What really intrigues me, and now that you're telling me about fuel tax,
Yes, he can run the numbers on it, and I could help you out if you want. I could give him some volume numbers. And that's
that would be very helpful.
I've done this before. That's how a lot of it's based. Gallons and price per gallon and whatnot. You can I don't know what percentage you guys get here, I'm sure you know that, sales tax and fuel tax, a certain percentage is already figured. I can tell you the inside, I anticipate the inside to be, okay, inside sales, which is just without gas, and I can give you the gas portion of it, and then you can come up with your numbers and you know, that would be good information, I would think, to share with the board members as well.
Yes, sir, that would really be an exciting factor too.
That could be a game changer.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah, this is Ted Warner again on the phone. I had a couple ideas I wanted to toss out to you. I don't know how flexible you are with your design and your layout of the property, but if you drive from that business district there is called the Union Business District. If you drive from there up to the Endicott Business District, pretty much you'll see, or at least till you get to the arch, and maybe even a little further, you'll see a pretty much intact street there. And we've pretty much kept it that way for years and years. If you go about, say, a city block east of where you're talking about, where the Lord's Walk-In Center is, they wanted to put that building there on that property probably 12, 15 years ago. And the idea was to put the building at the back end of the property and have the front end parking, which is the typical thing for a mall or a drugstore or whatever. But we convinced them that, well, when these new projects come to town, I think it helps the business and it also helps the town to enhance the looks of the street and enhance the looks of the village. And I just wanted to throw out an idea to you that, for you to think about anyway, maybe doing something like that. Like Friendly's now is right up on the street, the parking lot's behind it. So you don't see an empty gap in the streetscape. And if that's at all possible, how flexible you are with your ideas, I don't know. But I was a historian of the village 15 or 18 years ago, and they were going to do a $13 million full-depth reconstruction of Main Street and Endicott Avenue. And if you go down there, you'll see that, and they were just going to come through and wipe everything out and make a runway, basically, as fast as the cars could go through there. But we sat down with them and met with them and told them this is their chance, DOT, to really enhance the looks of a village of New York State. And what they did was they did every suggestion we gave them. They put in antique lighting underneath the underpass where the cider mill is. They made that all stamped concrete, so it looks like stacked rocks. They put red brick between the sidewalk and the street. They put railings on some of the stores that matched the lampposts. Even the street lights and the street signs, they matched up. They even put coloring in the cement so it wouldn't look like a gaudy white brand new cement for the sidewalks. But this was some examples of how they not only did their job, but they also provided an enhancement to the village and to the streetscape and to the neighbors there. So I just wanted to toss those ideas out to you, see if you had any, or if you would maybe think about those and see if there's some advantages to you on any of those things. Of course, we can't require you to do that, but at least...
suggestions we'll take a look at. I've done City of Geneva. If you want to look at something in the City of Geneva, the 5 corners right in the middle of the city. We bought 5. That'd be a great one for you guys to look at. We bought 5 houses on the main corner of the City of Geneva. We've had a store there for 40 years. And, you know, I put some decorative steel fencing up, a 3-foot brick wall. I worked with the city. We, you know, did some things there. But that was when I just did. I opened that one last summer as well.
We're really on the verge of taking off here. Binghamton has taken off for the last 5 or 6 or 8 years. Johnson City is starting to take off. And Endicott is right on the verge. We've got $6 million we're going to spend on Washington Avenue. And we've got some companies coming into town. We've got several new big projects coming into town. One project's going to have 160 basically senior citizen apartments, brand new. So it'd be nice to have these projects all kind of working together to help the appearance of the village, rather than just.
Go
rather than just a Marabito gas station.
And we're not on Romano gas station.
No, I know.
I know Joe.
I haven't looked on the internet to see what yours look like, but I've heard they're pretty nice.
Yes, they are.
Can I talk?
You have the floor.
I got 2 points talk about the variances in the law. At this point, we'd have to change the law, the church restrictions, things like that, or?
Well, no, the church restriction he was talking about is a zoning law, and he would apply for an area variance from the zoning board for that law, for that restriction, and it's such a minor thing. I'm not going to prejudge it. I don't want to influence the zoning board, but I think he's willing to go through that process. Really, the bigger issue is the sale of cigarettes. That's the tobacco retail sales law. It's not a zoning law. It's a standalone law. And there are 2 problems he's running up against with that law. Number 1 is that it's in close proximity to the school, and our law doesn't allow sale of tobacco within 1,000 feet of a school. And number 2, the law puts a cap on how many licenses are issued in the village. And the way it works is we have to lose 2 licenses in order to gain 1. And I just got some breaking news. I think we are losing 1 license. I don't know if we're going to lose more than 1. So maybe there's room there.
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you'd say it, but I was thinking.
You're right. So, and I don't want to, I can't say for sure that that's an opening, but that might be able to be resolved.
Lock me in for that one and then
Well,
I want that on record. I want it tonight.
We'll put you on the waiting list. How's that?
Waiting list. I want to be number 1.
Is that a local
Yes, sir.
law or a state law?
it's a local law, so this is something that can be amended by the village board if you want to.
Yeah,
That's
we
it.
worked on that last year.
I know, I
Right.
forgot.
It's government overreach, though. We're trying to tell our residents, we don't want you to smoke cigarettes,
Right.
so we are limiting the amount of tobacco licenses within the village. I don't smoke, and I wouldn't smoke, no offense to you, but I wouldn't smoke cigarettes if you built one next door to my house.
I don't smoke neither.
It's government overreach. Who are we to tell our residents not to buy cigarettes in the village of Endicott when they can go to Endicott or Vestal, Johnson City, Binghamton?
It wasn't so much that we didn't want the cigarettes as
Right.
we didn't want the bodegas.
Bodega.
That's another whole problem.
Yeah.
I can understand
That's why
that.
we did
In my
it.
20 years of development, and I've done too many of these.
Yeah.
I've probably been to over 50 municipalities. I've nothing against you guys. I've never seen retail tobacco licenses in my 20-some years of doing this. That's why I'm glad Brian brought it up to me. I would have never even thought of looking at this. I probably would have been almost until somebody brought it up at the end, and then I would have been, oh my
Well,
God.
I voted for it, and I smoked too.
Yeah.
But we
But,
don't
but I thought it was for bodegas and vape shots.
And
The
it
first
is.
When I read it,
It is.
that's what I got
Right.
instant. That's what it was crafted for.
Right.
And there are a lot of them everywhere.
I'm
Yeah.
not against the permitting process.
Yeah.
I'm not against the permitting process, but I personally am not for the 2-for-1 rule. I don't think it's beneficial to Endicott.
Well, that's because
any
you
way.
didn't understand what we were up against at the
Yeah.
time. It's one of those situations that you had to live
They
through
were
before you
everywhere.
understand it. We were getting a lot of bodegas starting here, and they were popping up on every street. Every day we were getting them, and we had to find some way to rein them in, and this was the only way that the police worked with the state police and the sheriff to do this. This wasn't something that the village of Endicott decided on their own. But that doesn't mean that we're gonna give this gentleman a hard time. There's ways we can have, with the planning and zoning, we can work around it. We don't want to tell you to leave yet. We want you here.
No, I appreciate that.
So that's not the point. We have to just work around it, and I don't know.
That's why I came to see if you guys
Yeah.
are willing to, which it seems like you are. I mean, there's always
I'm willing to discuss. Yeah.
discussion. of
There's
how-
always that one.
I would like to bring up my suggestion again that we, at the next board meeting, which is in 2 weeks, that we hold an executive session and discuss some of the options here.
Yeah, they give us time to think about it.
That'd be a topic of executive.
Well, it's not a topic of executive session, but we can do it in an attorney-client session, which is not the same as executive session, but it allows us to meet in private. And we can discuss various options in private. But having said that, to the extent that we're going to be amending a law, if that's where this goes, all that needs to be done in public. So
Oh, yes, definitely.
this will eventually have to be a public process.
Public hearings required.
Public hearings and so forth. Yeah.
I was wondering, I didn't catch your name, the person from Burnberry, but
His name
I was wondering what your timeline is like.
You change the law here, it takes 30 days, 60 days, I'll build it in the summer. I'll have it built by August 1st. I can't be much quicker than that. I'm doing 4 right now. This would be number 5.
And you're demoing the current?
The friendlies, which is located right here, would be demolished. As soon as I got permit approval, and if this was amended, this is a project for 2021, the summer of. That's all I can tell you.
Well,
We do not put sites under contract. My job is to get these permitted, and from the day I get it permitted to when I break ground, it's less than 120 days. We fly with you. Ask anyone. We GC our own site, so I just have crews that go around and do it.
boy, if you look at the Pizza Hut and the Friendlies lot, I mean, it is not, it doesn't look too great, let's put it that way. I think this could be, I think it could go far towards revitalizing that area, and it shows development and growth, progress.
Will you buy the Pizza Hut building too and
I already asked him
Pace
that.
Paradise?
All right.
Did you? All right, Brian.
You did mention it.
But Christian, we just have to find a way that we can still protect ourselves from the terrible problems we had before.
I understand. I am
You know,
under.
that's all. I really want to protect us
Yep,
from
yep.
that because this was quite a problem for the.
Understand. I know it's going to be a little process. I'd have to convince
Yeah.
the owners that aren't from around here, by the way, they're from New York City. I'd have to convince them to give me some extensions. I'm under a 90-day contingency. But again, I think I have a 30-day option in there. But again, we're moving forward. I can say, listen, it takes a little longer because the public hearing is required. I've done a bunch of these stuff like this, so I know the process. And what I would do is if, I got the warm fuzzy from this board and we know we were working towards an amendment, I would hope that I could start the process with the planning board, the site plan approval, and the ZBA, kind of piggyback it all together, so I don't, get into a 6-month approval process. Again, we like to get them permitted and build them. And I'll do that as well, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather work with this board on crafting something that they're going to do it, and then I can get in front of the planning board, start my site plan review, start talking about, the type of trees and the fencing and whatnot.
Because I think if we could come up with an agreement and the planning board hears what our agreement is, I think they'll be more willing to listen to your speech. Like I say, our main concern is the bodegas.
Yep.
But like I said, we might think outside the box. We've got a lot of free thinkers here, so we'll see what they come up with, especially our lawyer. As he sits there trying to hide, and he knows he's.
Maybe even, police chief, we could talk to Chief Gary.
Oh, he's definitely going to be
get some
involved
insights
in
on
this.
that.
Definitely, yes.
That has something.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm looking at your handout, and I'll vote yes tonight if you can guarantee the price.
Gas prices?
$2.30.
I like
That's what the
that.
last couple of months have done.
That's very good, Pat.
Yeah, that was good. I like that observation.
Where's the closest facility that would look like this? Like we wanted to see one. Where was the closest?
Homer, Cortland.
Oh, way down.
Homer?
Wow.
I just built the one in Homer. I opened it in November.
It'd be like the same type of footprint?
Exact same thing.
Okay.
And, it's literally to a T.
Yeah, we'll go take a look at it.
Yeah, right off the exit, right next, well, I hate to say this, right next to high school. So there you go. We put in pedestrian access for, the neighbors out back and whatnot, but it's next to a high school. Not next to, but close proximity to. Okay. Listen, we follow all laws. You guys know we're a big corporation. We do our own compliance checks, where we hire an outside third-party firm to come in and try to do a fake ID, for alcohol sales. We do the same thing for tobacco. So we police ourselves as well as the government agencies love to police us, but we police ourselves as well. So we have a district of cigarettes and tobacco as well, and we're a tax stamping agent.
So no loosies.
Yeah, no,
I'm
they're,
teasing.
we discourage the sale of, what are they called, blunts? So, that's all I can say, but.
Is your, facility near the circle down there in Huston? Is that one?
Yes, that's one of mine, yep. Yep, they just put the roundabout in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The roundabout that I love.
Yeah.
I built that one, just to give you how long I've been there, I built that one in 2001. That was the second store I ever did, no, third. But yeah, in 2001.
Yeah.
Since then, this will tell you how much, I built 3 stores in the town of Horseheads. That was my first, that tells you, by the time I got the third one, I got an approval in 30 days. If I would have screwed up on the first 2, I wouldn't have got an approval. But we opened one on Miracle Mile, they call it the Miracle Mile. I opened that one 2 years ago, up on Route 14, it's called the Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
I built one just up there, same exact model. And I built one, we call it the Fairground store on Grand Central. I built that about 9 years ago. So, 20 years ago I built one, 10 years ago I built one, and 2 years ago I built one.
Christian, you've mentioned jobs. How many jobs?
25, generally 25 to 30, because part-time, we hire some kids to serve ice cream,
Sure.
at night, in the summertime we do very well with our soft ice cream. So, hire some kids that, it goes up in the summertime, of course, and then, but it's 25 to 30, part-timers, but generally it's 16 full-time equivalent employees.
What hours are your operation?
24 hours.
Oh, good.
Yep. All new stores are
Great.
24 hours.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Thank you guys for allowing me to at least, come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's a great opportunity.
Sounds very good. Thank you so much. Now we go to our public hearing. Public hearing on our police reform and reinvention collaborative draft plan. We put it on the internet, on our social media, I should say, and a lot of people have got copies of this. So I would like to open this up to the public if they would like to have any comments on this. And I do believe our police chief is also on Zoom, so if we have some questions, we have him available to answer anything that people need answers to. So, it's all yours, Mr. Chief.
Same thing, if anyone wants to speak, they can raise their hand, put it on the phone, star 9. I have one right now. We'll start with, that's Bill, correct?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yep.
Hi there. This is Bill Huston. So I have full details of this plan. I clicked on a link and it directed me to the Endicott Police website, and there's a description of what this is about. It's an executive order, a state plan. I'm just not sure what the local plan is. But I want to relate to an incident that I had with the Endicott Village Police, and this happened in June of 2017, June 14 of 2017. I was sitting alone in my car in Griffin Park, and this was around midnight, and I had been just in Montrose shooting some video that day, and I was reviewing the video. And I had my laptop there, and I was reading emails, just doing like office stuff, because it was a hot night, and I didn't have, where I was staying, I didn't have air conditioning. And I was, officer came up to me and started barking orders at me. First of all, there was no signs on the park about any kind of hours or anything like that. And I did go there all the time, all kinds of days and night, all times of the day. And I was screamed at. Nobody had made a complaint against me. This officer was just on patrol, and he dragged me out of my car. He put me in a pain hold. He basically about dislocated my shoulder, and they put cuffs on me, detained me in his car. They searched my car without a warrant. And I was screaming the whole time. And I'm like, you guys better think about this, because you're going to get sued, because I haven't done anything. There's no complaint against me. It was a very traumatic situation for me to have lived through. I actually sued I tried to sue the Village of Endicott over this, but I couldn't complete. I had to abandon the lawsuit because I was temporarily living in Pennsylvania, where I couldn't do legal research. You got to go to the Broome County Library at that time to do legal research. So I had to abandon the lawsuit. So I just, I want to say kudos to Chief Gary. I was very unhappy the way he handled the situation at the time, but in the time hence, I have had several interactions with the Endicott Village Police, and they have been very professional, very polite, very courteous. After that incident, I haven't really had a bad interaction with the police, but I just would like a statement from Chief Gary about that incident, and I'm wondering if those officers still work for the Village of Endicott. Were they disciplined? And I really think what we need is to answer to address a lot of the problems that we have with the police that this Cuomo's plan is all about. I think that what we need empowered civilian advisory boards. This is a community group of civilians that are able to review police activity. They're able to review the chief and, the commanding officers, the top lieutenants or whatever, and the chief, and also have a say in hiring decisions. So that's it. I wanted to mention that, I have had very bad, and also very good interactions with the Endicott Village Police. I would just like a statement from the chief about these matters. Thank you for letting me talk.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? And yes, I know this is a public hearing on just police reforms.
Is anyone else with their hand up at the moment?
Could you just remind people what code they need to press for the telephone?
Sure. Yep, if you're on Zoom, you just hit the raise hand feature under the reaction tab at the bottom. And if you're joining by phone only, if you hit *9, it will raise hand on the screen, so we'll be able to see it. So if anyone else would like to speak on this public hearing, go ahead now. Raise hand, or like I said, on the phone, *9. John?
Hi, I'm John Martinecchio. I'm the rector at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, which is just down the street from the police department and the village offices. I've read the plan, and I think kudos go to all those who worked on that plan. I think we have a great police department in Endicott, and I think the chief has done a wonderful job in his time there. I think the plan is very extensive. I think it's well thought out. I think it has some great recommendations. And I think we should be proud of the committee and the work that they have done. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else like to speak?
You have to ask for you can tell from the phone now if they raise their hands, right?
Yep.
All right, well, if no one else wishes to speak at this particular public hearing, we will close the public hearing. Do I need a motion?
Yeah, I was just going to say, why don't you just do a motion? Yeah.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, may I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir. May I have roll call, please, Mr. Bates?
Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Now, I would like to call for a public hearing on 4-5, and this is for our tentative budget for 2021 and 2022. May I have a motion to call for that public hearing, please?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. And second?
I'll second that.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Trustee Warner.
Yes.
And that'll be 6 o'clock, May?
6 o'clock, yes, thank you, 6 o'clock. All right, now we come to approval of minutes. Now, is there any discussion on any of these dates, or do you want to vote for them all at once? I don't mind, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I have, on the February 15 and on the March 1 minutes, in our new, meeting rules, we have it where each, board member, has a chance to vote on every issue. And any board member can choose to remain silent if they want to. They don't have to vote. And, but if they do remain silent, it gets registered in the minutes as abstain. And I think on most of those, Linda, I don't know if you did them on all of them, but a lot of them you did go silent, but that didn't get into the minutes as an abstain after your name. So I think, for Janice, who was listening to the tape on this, I think all you got to do is go back and add those into those 2 minutes, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just a matter of how it's recorded in the minutes. And you can abstain from voting by doing it 2 ways. You could either say you abstain, or you could just abstain from voting, meaning you just don't say anything. Okay. It's still an abstention.
Yeah, so we should write that in for everyone?
Yeah, that would be appropriate.
I just didn't know. I don't mind. I just didn't
know.
Yeah,
otherwise, Linda, it almost looks like you're not even at the meeting, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't want that. Since I put all this time in.
Really?
I agree. Now, do you want us to just change the minutes to that, or do you want to hold up the minutes? Which do you want?
Yeah, I would want to hold the February 15 and the March 1 minutes up until those get changed.
Okay.
On the March 1 minutes, under the mayor's announcements, broom is spelled wrong. I would just like that corrected before we approve them.
On the March 1?
Yeah, on the,
okay, if I see it.
Yeah.
Linda, when you're going to give us I guess basically your announcements, per se, on Friday to the board members from now on,
yeah.
Are you still going to ask to have your announcements word for word in the minutes?
Yes, because a lot of people don't listen to our Zoom meeting. They rely on, well, no, I might not, because if I'm going to send it to you and send it to our website, and it's going to be on the website, maybe I won't. I just want people to know what's going on in the village. That's the reason I put them in. And a lot of people
right now, does Janice have to type all those, or do you just give them to her already typed on Word?
I cut and paste. I just send it to her. I just cut and paste. She doesn't have to retype it.
Yeah,
I would
okay.
Thereafter to do that.
I still would prefer if they were summarized in meeting minute format.
If I'm going to do this for the website, when I give it to you on Fridays, then you're absolutely right. That wouldn't hurt, because they'll already have it on the website word for word anyway, so that'll be fine.
This thing that you want to give us on Friday, so this is a thing for the website?
Well,
because I think
anyway, on the website. I'm going to do it I'm going to give it to you first, and then I'll just send it to Candace so that everybody knows what's going on. I figured you wanted transparency, and I thought, you're absolutely right. If I were to send them a notice every Friday, this is what's going on in the village, I think you're right. That would be a very good transparency thing to do. I agree with that. So that's why I wanted to do that.
Because there is a lot of information there, and I think it's good that you are going to put them on the website.
That's a good thing. We just need to have some social media oversight to make sure everything is in good form.
I send it to Candace, and she rechecks everything I do. I don't ever send.